Hey, yo, what's up, guys? Today I got on Rick to talk about Portuguese history. How long ago did we meet? Like a monthish ago, you know?
I would say during the summer, you responding to a video of mine talking about nihilism and Marxism.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And he's super knowledgeable about Portuguese history and Portuguese politics and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? Let's get him on to talk about Portugal's fascist period, and how it got out of it. So you want to give us like a little bit of introduction, like where is Portugal for like any American brained, like to point out on
Yeah.
a map.
Yeah. Of course, I'm used to this. So Portugal is located in the Iberian Peninsula, right next to Spain. It's one of the doors to Europe. It has the ninth biggest economic exclusive zone. So we control like some part of the Atlantic Sea with some of our islands that the United States also uses as a military base. It's in the Azores Islands, and also the United States has a Air Force base there, which is also having some trouble with with the recent shutdown as well. And some F-35s have been spotted landing there and on their way to Israel as well. So I'm very convinced my government is also complicit with this barbarity happening in the Middle East as well.
Mm-hmm. And
Uh, so s- yeah,
no, go ahead.
I was just a little historical context. Portugal is one of the oldest countries in Europe, if not the oldest. There's of course discussion because people in history, especially in this field, never agree on precise dates, right? And the documents are scarce. But we do know that for now, Portugal is one of the countries with one of the oldest borders. Our borders are unchanged around like 987 years, probably almost 1,000 years unchanged. We broke off from a part of the kingdom that Spain was not even a country or even a model country. Spain was pretty much a division of various kingdoms and feuds, pretty much. We the beginning of the founding of the country was in Castile. There was a king or a feudal lord called Philippe or Philip. He had a cousin called Alfonso or Afonso. They came from Bologna, most of them, from the that southern part of France, northern Italy zone. They all came here to enact a reconquista. So basically, in the 11th, 10th century, Portugal was occupied by the Moors. Basically, Muslim Caliphate was pretty much ruling all the southern of Spain and all the pretty much up to Lisbon of Portugal. So the with the Knights Templar as well, the Christians were able to push the Muslim invasion or the Moor invasion all the way to the south, and the kingdom was solidified around the 12th century with Alfonso III, if I'm not mistaken. Fast forward a few centuries, in the 15th, 16th century, we were a maritime superpower. We pretty much divided Spain, the world with Spain, with a treaty with the Pope called the Tordesillas Treaty, which pretty much gave us access to Brazil, and which we thought was India.
In our history classes, we teach as a Treaty of Tortilla.
Yeah, we call it. We say in Portuguese we say Tordesillas, but I think the translation should go roughly around that, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, pretty much we decide like, yeah, we're pretty much two colonial superpowers. The ingenious trick was John II, one of the best kings we had, from in my opinion. He pretty much made like an assembly of uh, shipwrights, cartographers, and all these brilliant minds all around Europe, especially Flanders, which is a zone in the north, I think, of France. Uh, they all came to Portugal pretty much to construct one of the biggest ships back in the day,
yeah. Mm.
the Nau. It's NAU. It's our ship. You'll probably see it around the paintings with the Templar cross and everything. It was probably one of the most ingenious like feats of engineering back in the day, or maritime engineering. So we could transport tons and tons of like spices through sea instead of the Silk Road. So we pretty much destroyed most of the commerce that China had through the Silk Road, or basically even the Italian cities, like Milan and Venice, which pretty much had the monopoly of the spice trade back in the 15th, 16th century. And we were like in the bottom of Europe, so we were paying top pricing for spices, anything basic that came from the Silk Road, because pretty much the pricing of products back in the day were also influenced by the travel distance they had to do, right? So we were cornered in the ocean, and we thought, well, maybe we can find a shortcut through sea. Uh, it's one of the things most Portuguese brag themselves about is being the brave man of the sea that braved the infested waters of monsters and mythical sea creatures. We have a whole book written, heroic text, actually, like a copy or like a Omer kind of style book written by a guy called Luis Camões. He's is known by having a high patch. He's the Portuguese Cervantes, would say, but better. Uh, he pretty much wrote a 12 chapter book, like in heroic text, describing these adventures, obviously romanticizing them, because pretty much most of this operation of colonialism was barbaric and just a bloodbath, uh, rapes, pillages, sackings, whatever you want to call it. Whenever we reach India, we pretty much subjugated the kings with our armada. Like, either you do business with us or we blow the city.
Yeah,
Vice
well,
wise,
Portugal was one of the earliest to do like plantation slavery, right? Am I mistaken?
yes, yes. In Brazil, yes. hmm In Brazil and Madeira Islands, Brazil nowadays has a lot of like uh, black black descendants of slaves that we brought to Brazil.
Yeah.
Most of the indigenous people of Brazil, that we call Indians, because we thought we were in India the first time we got Brazil. That's why we called them Indians, or the indigenous people of Brazil. And also we brought a lot of slaves, and we had like actual orders from the king to like mix the population to uh, just breed. We had like royal decrees asking people to breed and mix with the population there. It was one of the most brutal episodes of our history, of course, that we still romanticize too much. I'm giving you the no bullshit like history episodes, but if you talk to any kind of like Portuguese history teacher, they will try to embellish this the best way they can. Like, oh, we were one of the most moral colonizers in the world. Like, if you look at our colonies after the colonization process, like Brazil stayed united, all the colonies of Spain broke off into millions and other countries. So it just is a reflection of the colonizer. We have so much twisted takes on how our colonialism was different or benevolent. It's whitewashing. So if you ever hear this, just it's bullshit. Anyways, I'll answer. This is a brief like introduction. So our history then fast forwards again to the end of the I would say like 1920 probably. So we had like a military coup in 1986, in 1926, and basically we had the fall of the absolute monarchies, which were pretty much dictatorships all the way through. The absolutists versus the liberals. We had like a brutal civil war. We started the First Republic, which was very unstable. No governments were able to be formed or uh, uh, coalesce or being precise. Like they always there was or being overthrown. The material conditions were appalling. The political instability, it rose to a military dictatorship, pretty much.
Yeah.
In those early beginnings of that dictatorship, a guy called Antonio Salazar was appointed the finance minister, right?
Yeah.
So he pretty much did a stellar job on pretty much balancing our, debt scale, pretty much doing the the most barbaric things to workers and workers' rights, so they can level this scale. And most of the people that still like Salazar in Portugal, which most of the fascists that we have here still come with this arguments like, "Oh, Salazar built a lot of schools, and he um he took us out of debt. He left us so much gold in our coffers." Nazi gold, by the way. Yeah, because we play both parts in the Second World War. And the First World War, we participated with the Allies, with the winning side, I would say. We sent a small contingency to France, I think. In the Second World War, we decided to stay neutral.
Yeah.
But by staying neutral, we sold Wolframe or some metallic leagues to produce weapons to Germany and to the Allies. We pretty much
There was also just a general crisis of capitalism going on post World War II that a lot of a lot of these corporatist politicians really failed in. I feel like Italy, they were my main reference is Italy since Mussolini one. Yeah, Mussolini. I mean,
he was the guy that inspired our guy.
he inspired.
He was the guy. He was final guy. Yeah, yeah. Like Salazar and Franco was a bit more bloodthirsty military conducted. Like Salazar was a scholar.
Yeah.
Like Salazar was nowhere near like a military dude. He studied in Coimbra, one of the most prestigious universities in Portugal, law. Actually, he was one of the top students. Like we usually grade ourselves from 1 to 20, and his mark leaving the course was 19.8 in law school. He was a brilliant man.
Yeah.
Of course, a fascist, but he was very, very smart. So, like in comparison to Franco, which was a complete savage, Salazar had this whole idea of like the image of Portugal, like our prestige towards our neighbors, right? Towards how other nations would see us. We had up to I think it was 1980. I'm not sure when, but basically we still had like human zoos, right?
Yeah.
Like it was that common until 1946, 1950.
Mm.
It was this ridiculous. Like people want to see black people. We had zoos with black people.
Yeah.
We do not teach this in history classes.
Right. Right.
Do you understand how much whitewashing it exists in Europe? Not just Portugal, Europe. Spain barely talks about the massacres they did in South America.
Mm-hmm.
This is not taught. If you want to know about this, there are literature, of course. There are some teachers in the higher fields that are able to tell you the story or just tell the facts as they are. But this is very embellished. It's again a real problem we have in Europe in some of our countries, Italy, Spain, Portugal. These attempts of rebranding or softening the influence of fascism or this corporate organization of these authoritarian regimes, especially Mussolini. So Mussolini is very, very quoted in Portugal, mostly by people, Nazis, saying, "Oh, he was a socialist, but he was a socialist." Yeah, he broke off. He broke off of one of the socialist movements and weaponized the name so he could mobilize tons and thousands of workers that were also seeing their material conditions reduced because of this post Second World War problem, or the leadings to the Second World War, basically. And this was transversal to all countries in Europe. I think Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Germany. Those who fell into authoritarian regimes were having pretty much the same issues: political instability, the ultimate feeling of insecurity, trying to blame someone. And then there are like regional contexts. In Portugal was our colonial war, so our colonies were pretty much asking for independence. Mozambique, Angola, Cape Verde, some islands in Timor, in the Indonesian islands, were all asking for independence. And Salazar thought it was very smart and very like patriotic to send young boys to die in Africa for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this started creating this feeling of like just pure instability in Portugal, like mothers and fathers seeing their kids being sent out to a war that has no sense to be. This falling empire still trying to cling on to power, right? As you see nowadays with the United States as well. These colonial powers, these uh, these uh, uh, these regimes that depend on exploitation and colonialism and violence, when they see this violence being subverted to themselves, or France right now. Why do you think France is struggling right now to maintain government? Their colonial the colonial influence in Africa is diminishing by the day. Ibrahim Traore with his new policies right now. This is all another conversation, but with these movements in Africa to nationalize their natural resources that France exploited to this day is now coming back. The bill comes due. That's my point. The bill always comes due. And in the case of Portugal was this: young lives being thrown away, and the communist movements, Marxist-Leninist movements, pretty much, that still exists today. So one of the parties I like to vote, and I most of the time talks. I'm not a militant of the party, but I am a sympathizer. The Portuguese Communist Party, or mostly known as PCP, they were clandestine all the way through the dictatorship, organizing and plotting this revolution. There were a lot of particularities of this revolution. I think it's studied all the way through in South America. It's studied all around the world because of its specificities that are product of pure luck. The coronations are just a mere coincidence. So on the 25th of April was
Can we go a step back a little bit though?
Yeah.
More about Salazar. Yeah. How was the economy organized under Salazar? Because Mussolini, all the fascists had different sort of ways to organize their economies. Mussolini did it through like corporos, so he would like collectivize.
Corporativism.
Corporativism. Yeah. He would like collectivize all the.
Still exactly the same. So still to this day, Portugal has these very influential families. Champalimo, for example, the Salgados, so the Melos. So they are families that have been tied to the regime since monarchies, probably.
Mm.
So this is the type of primitive colonization we're talking about. Besides the point that Salazar inspired all his regime in Mussolini. So whenever I say that Salazar is fascist, few Portuguese that are listening, when I say Portuguese was and Salazar is fascist, it's because he inspired himself in the first guy to apply fascism to its core in Europe. That is Benito Mussolini. It was an inspiration either to Franco or Salazar. It's undeniable the way that most of the companies worked in conformity with the state, and all these cases of corruption, sexual assault, whatever you want to call, all this was, pushed down. Like nobody needs to know this. Nobody needs to know this guy was caught by being corrupt. Nobody knew. The image, the optics were extremely important in the Estado Novo regime, which are what they called our dictatorship. The optics and the secret police were imperimental to maintain this regime and maintain this veneer of oh no, we're not like, there was always a veneer of freedom, right?
Yeah.
But in like, you couldn't even own a lighter, dude. You actually have a license to own a lighter because the protectionism was so. No, you could smoke, but you use matches because we produced matches in our country, right? Okay. We were one of the greatest matches producer in the area, right? Yeah. We exported a lot of matches. So Salazar said, no, you are prohibited of importing like whatever product that competes directly with our national products. So the protection of our national, we call it protectionism, right? Yeah. Economic protectionism was also imperimental to maintain the regime and maintain this whole, again, veneer that everything works like a very well machine. After the fall of the regime, the poverty rate, the illiteracy rate was so high, we had to start all over again. We are, in practical terms, like 50 years um, behind Europe, I would say. Probably 40 now. Technologically speaking, in terms of like, all cultural mentality, I think.
Yeah, because I don't know, the thing with corporos and the thing with like fascism is like its goal isn't really to give rights to workers, it's to mediate class conflict. So what Mussolini did was like he like slightly nationalized like shares within companies. Managers and workers, they meet within these corporos and they negotiate, and the goal is to keep workers from like overthrowing the managers or the capitalists or whatever.
The companies help subsidize and maintain some state projects.
Yeah.
And counterpart, the state controls workers and keeps them obedient and non-questioning. That's it.
Yeah.
That's our rules.
And then, of course, the capitalists always win in these negotiations. I mean, the state's gonna always side with them. I mean, it's state capitalism essentially, or if you
score, tweet score.
yeah, or if you want to be a little bit spicy, social democracy, to its extremes.
Yes, if you want to call it, yes. If you want to be literate, yes, it is. Because Salazar was a very smart individual, like I said before, and he knew this propaganda needed to appeal to this historical roots of Portugal, right? So he had a motto: God, country, and family. Deus, patria, familia. This was his motto that our fascist party right now uses all the goddamn time, but they say with the next work: Deus, patria, familia e trabalho. So this new guy, this André Ventura guy, this is our fascist leader here, like the party leader called Chega, or Enough translated, pretty much. He pretty much, he's so disgusting with it. So a couple of weeks ago, he was giving an interview, one of the 30 interviews he was giving on Portuguese media, because Portuguese media and media itself are carrying these fascists to power. It happened with Trump, with all the media, all the mediatic attention he already had, and at even worse whenever he ran his candidacy, right? The same here happened with André Ventura. André Ventura was a guy from the showbiz as well, but in a different angle. He didn't do reality shows. He did something even worse. So he did sports comment, football, soccer.
Yeah.
So it brings this tone of discussion to the parliament that's so disgusting, so out of touch. So the level just dropped. The quality of debate just dropped entirely since they gained the seats in parliament. Now our parliament's constituted by 230 seats. They have 60.
Damn.
Our left is being destroyed right now.
Yeah.
Because there's this
liberal media always helps them out too. Like liberal media were ridiculous, meteoric in like Trump's eyes. I don't know. It's as much as they pretend they hate them, to some extent they want them in power. I don't know.
They love the because he's not an agreeable person, right? He's going to be divisive. So he bring the last take he bring. It wasn't national television. He just went like this. You know what do we need? I think we need 3 Salazars to put this country back in order again. We need 3 more Salazars. That's what he said.
Damn.
You know what anti-fascists responded? Oh yeah, because there's a funny story. Salazar pretty much was thrown away from power, or was eventually cast away because he fell from a chair and got injured, very injured.
Yeah.
And he was already really old. So we still have a little inside joke in anti-fascist movements, like, oh yeah, sit on the chair, you bitch. And they're like, oh yeah, we just need a couple, 3 more chairs. Let's go find out where that chair was fabricated. We'll do 3 more then. Because this guy is he's so out of pocket with it. Like he has no shame, no filter, and people respond to this, right? This gives you audiences, this gives you ratings. That's the whole shebang. I mean, little media loves this, and they are contributing to. Look, just listen. This guy's been having like 30 interviews in an extent of like 1 month or 2. His presence on media television and national television every single goddamn night is right now is running for president.
Mm.
So our political organization is a bit different. So we are not a presidential system. So the guy that calls the shots most of the time is the prime minister, right? And the president has the veto power. That's it. He also has like like the representative function. Like whenever the state of Portugal needs to be represented somehow or some meeting or whatever, that's the president's job, right? But besides that, he has veto power, and that's it. He can approve like a constitutional revision, maybe,
Yeah.
which is also very scary right now in Portugal specifically.
You think he has a shot to become president?
Unfortunately, I do.
Mm.
I think his power is waning right now because we had like local elections for like city mayors, and his party didn't do so well. He was expecting more than the triple of the results that he had. So he had like less than half of the results he was proposing himself to have. It was a monumental failure. And of course, what happens in Portugal after elections in parliament, there's always a debate to analyze the results. And of course, every party has their, oh, we kind of won speech, right?
Yeah.
Even they got clocked and in the elections they always have this kind of like, even the Communist Party has this take, like they don't have as much expression votes. Oh, but it's kind of a victory because we were able to hold the municipalities we had, like that. So it's pretty much a cope fest. And in this cope fest, the one of the center right parties started like pretty much roasting them. Like, you guys said you had triple the results. What's the triple of zero? This, this silence. Like, you guys, even for maths, you guys are not even appropriate. Why are you guys even trying to say that you're going to run a country? So they're being roasted now in the last few days, and this is their power waning. I think it's the way to like fight these fascists, like these Portuguese fascists, and specifically. But yeah. What else? Give me questions, so I don't write.
What was Franco and Salazar's relationship, or like Portugal's and Spain's relationship? Because you said
I mean,
Franco was way more brutal.
yeah. I mean, he didn't like Franco. He needed to put up with like any other. I think he had. There's a lot of books of like correspondence that Salazar had with other leaders. A few very funny ones with the American ambassador back in the day, because he refused to talk to the American diplomat or ambassador without a translator. And after one of their meetings, Salazar pretty much answered the ambassador in perfect English, and the ambassador was like, "Sir, why your English is so good? Why do you always request a translator when we have our meetings?" And Salazar just plain and simple answer, like, "If you are coming to my country and you refuse to learn my language, why would I even give you the benefit or whatever speaking to you in your language?
Yeah.
No, we do this like traditionally." Like, he didn't like Americans, but he also despised like the other leaders, besides probably Mussolini. Of course, he had some appreciation for Mussolini. But Franco, Salazar had like for the like authoritarian leaders in Europe, I would say he had a pretty much appreciation for Mussolini.
Yeah.
The way he organized his whole regime is pretty much just states his appreciation for Mussolini. He doesn't need to even write it, although he left some writings on it. But he despised Hitler. He despised Franco. Even though he did business with them, he traded like raw materials for weaponry and everything. And we got Nazi gold, pretty much. He didn't like them, like on a personal level. He despised them because they're the Salazar didn't like even though he had the stupidity of sending people to war. I didn't think he had like a good vision on the Second World War, how it was being implemented in Europe. Like, he didn't have a good opinion on it. Although he contradicted himself, like by just sending young people to die in Africa, which I don't know. He was a very very.
Why do you think
I'm
Portugal kept its colony so hard? Like, especially when the rest of the world was like decolonizing. Like,
Oh, because of the regime, for sure. Like, the regime always like instill this feeling of we are the Portuguese Empire. So all these territories extra colonial territories or extra maritime territories are ours, right? This is Portugal as well. So this it was pretty much withhold by this historic prestige we had somehow. It was the main driving um, topic to maintain this propaganda that the colonies must stay ours. And even the whole decolonization process was a total disaster as well. After the revolution, a total disaster. No transition of power, no security assurances, nothing. We just left.
Right.
It was, you know, ridiculous. Anyway, what else? What else do you want to know about my country?
Um, what were some of the main communist groups that resisted fascism? And yeah, honestly, Salazar's death sounds funny. Could you go more into it? Like him just calling back and I don't know, hurting himself
I
while
mean,
mad that he's like old and shit,
there's a lot of like hearsay, of course, because but the most common story is that he fell off this chair. He got pretty heavily concussed, and it was pretty much unfit for to the country anymore. Like he was really old, and after that any old people that fall down the stairs or a chair or whatever, like that kind of fall will hurt you. It might kill you as well. So whenever he was on his deathbed, another guy called Marcelo Caetano took his mantle, I guess, for a few years, and still we call it Marcelismo is still a form of fascism. Um, he was still trying to uphold the ultramaritime war, still sending young people to die. Uh, the social conditions that we have, the material conditions themselves, were deteriorating heavily. We have people living in shacks in Lisbon, uh, like no clothing, pretty much. You had a lot of pictures, like old pictures of Lisbon, like a total slum, like for real, a total slum in the outskirts of the city. Just shacks made of like 2x4s and metal plates.
Was all the
Like
money
just
going towards like wars and stuff, and it was like affecting
to
the
the war, into the regime. Yeah, exactly. This corporativism also was able to funnel a lot of funds that should not have been funded, of course, to military gear and war. Yeah, very much. And this all the money we were making as well, selling raw materials to Germany and to the United States as well, were funneled also to trying to finance the war and sending more and more young men to die in Africa.
Mm.
It was disaster waiting to happen, and that's why the military also participated in the coup. It was one of the main driving, like the revolution. Like you asked the groups, like the Communist Party was operating clandestinely. The MRPP was also a communist vanguard party, uh, led by some Maoists, some Leninists as well. We had a lot of Leninists here. We still do. And also we had it was called the anti-fascist movement as well. They had like the word anti-fascist in their movement. Like I know the precise name, but it was called roughly the Portuguese anti-fascist movement, or Alliance of Anti-Fascist Coalition, something of the sort. Um, but the main driver, the main instigator of the revolution was the Portuguese Communist Party, for sure. A guy called Álvaro Cunhal was one of the brilliant minds of the Communist Party that was a Leninist. He had some appreciation for the Soviet Union led by Stalin, although he had some criticisms of course, like the cult of personality and everything that Stalin had on his regime. He was very knowledgeable man. You should look it up. Álvaro Cunhal. It was one of the most influential communist minds in Portugal. We also have the we call them the captains, or the freedom captains, or the April captains. Otelo was one of the. Let me look them up because there are a lot of them. I'm awful with names. We call them the captains of April. Really awesome, good name.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. How do you spell Oliver Crino? How do you spell that?
So Alvaro, Alvaro.
Oh,
Cunhal is his
Alvaro.
second
Oh, okay.
Alvaro, yeah. And Cunhal is Cunhal. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I found him. I found him. Yeah, yeah.
That's the guy, Alvaro Cunhal. He's the GOAT, man. He's the GOAT.
Oh, hell yeah, hell yeah. Who's that right winger that you were saying is might be the president? By the way.
Oh, Andre Ventura. Andre
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ventura. Yo, he has a frog face, I think.
Ventura. Let me see. I'll rate him right now. Hold on. Yeah, yeah. You're right about the frog face. It's no,
Okay.
yeah.
He has a frog
Dude,
face.
holy shit. He's got just
He's,
massive fucking eyes.
oh my god, he's so annoying. I swear to God, I hate that man so much. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh, he's insufferable. He's like a Trump wannabe. Did you know, like, whenever Trump got elected, he went to the United States to see his inauguration, but he wasn't even invited.
I swear to God, there's so many Trump wannabes. Like every time Trump gets into office, the entire world just starts producing them like a factory machine. Like Bolsonaro and all the
Oh my
bullshit, all that.
Oh my god, Bolsonaro is a whole different. Like he is a ex. Like Bolsonaro is even worse. Like Bolsonaro was in the military, in the Brazilian military. That guy has no scruples. That guy is a sailor in like flat bad mid COVID.
Yeah.
He turns to a guy like I'm no gravekeeper. How am I supposed to know how many people died? It's a little cold. What the fuck are you talking about? Like,
It's no,
and
no.
oh yeah, and he allegedly got stabbed too in the middle of the crowd.
Yeah.
Bullshit. These guys are so they're so bitch made nowadays because just just imagine this.
Well, he got open also like 20 times and like almost died from it.
Look,
Like,
if you look back at like Mussolini,
yeah.
Hitler itself, even Hitler, right? Like those are tough guys. Even if you want to like they're awful human beings, they're tough guys, right?
Yeah.
These neo fascists nowadays are all bitch made. Like I don't see one of them like being this like strong man, strong leader. Like all bitch made. Nick Fuentes, bitch made. Um, what's the other name? We have a Nick Fuentes wannabe here as well. His name was Gazur or whatever. He's a twink, a total twink, dude. Like no, like like with a little like button up shirt. Like the sleeves are bigger than him. I swear to God, I cannot make this shit up. I swear.
They've always been low key fail sons, though. I feel like fascists. I don't know. They've always been fail sons, but yeah, I do agree. This new round is definitely. I feel like they're hand me downs. They're like silver spoon fascists. Uh,
Oh my God, they're like it's like the people have this whole like whenever like you drink the whenever you're drinking the dirty water of imperialism called Coca-Cola, right? You have the original flavor, and then you have these people like Cope that Coca-Cola Zero or without caffeine tastes the same. It doesn't. It doesn't. We all know it doesn't, right?
well,
It's Coke. It's true Coke.
Coke Zero is my preferred drink. I will say. Not
Oh, it's it's my preferred as well. I like Coke Zero. I'm a Coke Zero guy, but nowadays with the BDS, it's been a while since I drank some, but it was my go-to. It was my go-to. Nowadays, I go with an off-brand Portuguese slop that's really similar, but it's not zero sugar. They're lying to me. They're lying to me.
absolutely.
What else? What else can I tell you? Oh yeah, I have the names. One guy that's really important, Otelo Saraiva de Carvalho. He was one of the minds of the military coup in Portugal. There's a state where we are, and there's a state where we are. There's a state of being, there's a state where we are right now. We decide the new state we bring. Something of the sorts. We're talking about like doing, because we have the word estavo in Portuguese means to stay or to have stayed as well. So we have this little word play with them to be and to be a state. So he made a little wordplay with that. It was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Still today has been quoted by a lot of like communists and everything in Portugal. Vasco Gonçalves, that eventually became a prime minister in Portugal, really, really, really brilliant man as well. Salgueiro Maia, also one of the they were seven seven of these captains, and they avoided a fucking civil war, which is unheard of in Portugal as well. Like we never, only once in our country we had a civil war. It was like in the 13th or 14th century,
Yeah.
right? So these guys were able to um, quell a little bit the animosity of the post revolution. And what happened at the post revolution was still today being debated because there was plans to install like really put up like a communist regime or like or there was plans, there was intentions, I would say.
Yeah.
Not nothing consumed, nothing really concrete, but I would say there was plans to take a revolution further, right? To uh, start obtaining like the farmlands in the south of the country, so we could start doing the cooperative farming. We organized the old way we grow crops in Portugal, the whole agrarian reform we had planned, and everything. That this movement started getting some motion, but there was also a counter movement by a socialist party. Uh, they call they are center left, the center left, the Social Democrats. That they stopped and that they say they stopped the communist coup. I have a lot of like disagreements with that assessment. I don't think it's accurate. Some Portuguese conservative Portuguese historians would say that the Communist Party was arming themselves to overthrow this temporary government we had, so they can further the revolution. And some of the intelligence got like contextually, CIA was also running a lot of operations in Europe to also not also Red Scare, but to prevent the possible ascension of a socialist or a communist regime in Europe as well.
Yeah, of course.
And Portugal was leaning a lot after the revolution to implementing a socialist or the dictatorship of the proletariat kind of vibes going on, right? And to this day, the ambassador of the United States and Mário Soares, which was also later on Prime Minister of Portugal, and the guy that signed Portugal into the European Union as well, I don't like him. I despise him. He was the sock dam that sold and overthrew the revolution. And so to this day, the conservatives say that the 25th of November for them is like the freedom day for them because they stopped the communist uprising in Portugal. Ooh, the big scary communists are trying to, install the dictatorship like that. And this Red Scare bullshit, And Portugal is still to this day one of the most affected countries by Red Scare, like without a shadow of a doubt. We got so much flack for and so much banding for the communists wanted to take away your freedom, like that. Like even from Salazar, it's a tragic inheritance we have for him. Like we are like in terms of comparison with the French, for example. Whenever the French want to protest anything, they will go out on the streets. They will stop breaking stuff. They'll stop setting cars on fire. We're not. We are very tame people. We are very tame because of I think still the inheritance of our dictatorship of being subservient. Being quiet, not putting up too much of a fuss. If you don't point, because no trouble will come to you. We still to this day have this mentality, and it's awesome.
I mean, in America we're very much the same. Though we never had a formal dictatorship, but we're very docile when it comes to like big strategic events. Yeah. Could you go a little bit more into the Carnation Revolution though? Like, how did that play out exactly?
So there was a plan we had banned musics in radio and banned books, of course, right? And there was a music called Grândola Vila Morena. You should hear it. Which basically served as a signal to it's about to start. It's go time. So the plan was whenever the radio stations got captured, because the first plan was to capture the radio station and start emitting that the music, so people know it's time to get out to the streets. They basically started running the music. People started getting out the streets in Lisbon, and there was a famous restaurant with uh, a, a very old lady nowadays that she passed away last year, called Donna de Lourdes, I think. She had a lot of carnations in a restaurant, and it was a very fancy restaurant, like a very family owned restaurant in
Yeah.
the middle of Slapback, Lisbon, right? And she saw like there wasn't. We're not going to have business today. There's something going on in the streets, right? I had all these carnations here. I might as well give them away. And as soon as the military convoy started passing, and a lot of people accompanying the military convoy and everything, she started handing out carnations,
Yeah.
red carnations. And there's a fantastic photo of a child grabbing a carnation and putting it on the gun, on the barrel of the gun of the soldier. No people died. No one died. So this is the thing that contradicts most revolutions, right? And most people, oh, it's not a revolution if nobody died. It's not. All revolutions are violent, right? We had, we were this close to violence. The guy called that I told you, Hotel. So Hotel was the one of the leaders, right? In the main square of Lisbon, he faced one of his commanders with a machine gun pointed at him, and he advanced unarmed with his arms. I was like, "Listen, we're both Portuguese. I want to kill my comrades. I have this uniform on to protect my country, not to kill my countrymen. I'm not here to kill you. I'm going towards you and my comrades. I'm expecting you guys not to shoot, please. I have a message." The lieutenant that was facing him ordered the soldiers to shoot.
Yeah.
They did. They didn't. They dropped weapons and joined him.
So it must have been like super bad for even the army to like abandon the government. Like, you know, conditions are never good if the army abandons the government. You know, that's
Exactly. They picture the picture again. We had a lot of young people dying in Africa and being sent to Africa to die for nothing, for a falling empire that already had nothing to give. The material conditions and the poverty rates were so goddamn high. We had a phrase like a sardine for 3, a sardine for 4, sardine and a potato for 4. Sardines are very common in Portugal. You have a lot of like canned sardines, right? It's one of our trademarks. So we had a lot of like, even to this day, like we eat the whole pig, right? We eat all parts of the pig because scarcity in Portugal and food scarcity was so goddamn high. We had to make do with everything we had, even the guts. So today we see, when you see those charcuterie items, this was all made and created due to scarcity. So we need to make those ingredients last longer. And we are, I think, we're still in one of the only countries in the world that we eat the old goddamn pig, snout, feet, everything. We eat everything. I don't, but most people do here. So again, if you analyze the whole repressive regime, you couldn't own nothing foreign. You could be arrested by having an opinion. Every neighbor could be a spy for the state, or could denounce you to the state if they knew or suspected you were communist, or owned illegal material or illegal books, illegal music, whatever. Right? Your own goddamn neighbor could be a Pete agent, which was pretty much our Gestapo or our I don't know what was the secret police of Mussolini? I forgot them.
I forget.
But we had a secret police, basically. It was similar to Gestapo vibe. So pretty much any dissidency, any whiff of dissidents, they were immediately persecuted and arrested and sent to torture prisons, pretty much. A lot of communists died. We had one of the longest dictatorships. It lasted 48 years almost. So we didn't like massacre a lot of people like Mussolini did in his first like 2 weeks of government, but we killed a lot of like political dissidents and we exiled a few.
Yeah,
but it was also brutal.
Comes with the dictatorship game, you know, just a little bit, but a little bit of repression.
Pretty much.
You know?
Yeah.
You were getting a little bit into it, and you know, there were obviously a lot of influences within the Carnation Revolution, but why do you think ultimately it did fail to end capitalism? Like, what do you think was it?
I think it was I think there was a counter movement again, linking back to that 25th of November. led by Mário Soares and a few other like people into the center of politics, or more, I would describe moderate, consider the political spectrum back in the day. And they did a whole like counter movement in the 25th of November to stop the Marxist ideology, or the Marxists in the revolutionary movement, to consolidate power and to install what they were planning on. So Cunhal was one of these masterminds of this communist plot, I would say.
Yeah.
But I think the objectives were valid, right? The first objective of the revolution was to free our people, right, from this brutal regime, and to start like having the workers own the means of production. We have a very famous video in Alentejo, the south, of two comrades talking, and one of the comrades trying to explain to the other how this is going to work now. And they have these how do you call it, that farming tool with the, how do you call it, a rake, maybe? That's not a rake.
I don't know.
Let's call it a rake, or one of the or one of those to like dig holes, shovel, whatever. They're like, this is my tool, and the guy was saying, no, from now on, this is our tool. If you need tools, you can come here to the cooperative and grab any tool you want. But all these lands is for us to farm. Oh, but I need a tool to my little small patch at my house. Well, I'm gonna need to buy one. No, it's like a whole video, like it's a Portuguese meme actually, with communists, right? Of like the comrade trying to explain that this is a mean of production. That this is now ours. It's not yours anymore. It's ours. Oh, you're stealing from me. You're stealing from. So there's our own populace was very illiterate after the end of the regime. I would say 80% of our population could write their names barely. Okay,
yeah. And they were probably taught to see communism. Like communism was a big boogeyman, the whole dictatorship.
Yeah, precisely. Besides the whole Red Scare propaganda that we were enacted like all these goddamn decades, we also had the problem that most of our people was legitimately illiterate, or like high levels of illiteracy. Salazar did the best he could to keep the population controlled and behind, right? Yes, he built schools, but he controlled what you were taught in school. So you were taught to read, you were taught to count numbers, write your name so you can sign a contract. That's it, right? Like you had until fourth grade, probably, and that's it. So I mean, the cult of ignorance is still very, very necessary in order for these regimes to work. And you see it nowadays. MAGA cultists are completely insane, right? You see the Chega fans here in Portugal, they are lunatics. They are literally hallucinating on Main. Like with the last time, a few weeks ago, we passed a law here prohibiting burqas in public spaces. Do you want to guess how many burqa wearers we have in Portugal?
Barely any.
I would say non-existent. If we have 10, it'll probably be a record, right? We don't have burqas in Portugal. We have, yes, I saw a few hijabs, some scarves, but nothing. Our nuns use scarves on their hair. So we had Portuguese traditional gowns that have like hoods, full on face covers. Like, I don't understand where this is coming from. This is this seeding of ignorance and like moral panic, and like it's the whole shebang, like distracting with cultural wars, us against them. Now it's gypsies, now it's the Muslims, and tomorrow will be Bangladeshi. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Romani.
Yeah, Romani. Yes, Romani. My bad. We again, Europe, we have a lot of like, even I have my blind spots because I have Romani friends in Portugal, in Spain as well, and they also call themselves the G word. So sometimes I get mixed up. But yes, you're right, Romani. Mostly the campaign with Chega started with attacking Romani people. It started with this. But then the other group of We have a lot of immigrants from Bangladesh, from India, from Nepal. They are easier targets, right? Oh, look, they're brown skinned. They're weird. They're different than us. So they started allocating the Romani and the Bangladeshi and everything. And the most ridiculous part in Portugal is the racism is so stupid. They hyper focus on a street in Lisbon.
Yeah.
A street in Lisbon. My guy, you are living in Trás-os-Montes, in the fucking north of Portugal. I bet my left nut you never saw that fucking street in your life.
Absolutely.
If I open the map and I asked you, okay, tell me, where is the infamous street full of Bangladeshi and immigrants? Where is it? It's like equivalent over Chinatown, I would say. So most of them, like New York has Chinatown, London has Chinatown, right? We have like a small, like, what 500-meter, 600-meter road in the middle of Lisbon that has a lot of like people from India, from Nepal. The smell and those streets are pretty much of curry, like all the good stuff. I fucking love curry. And you eat one of the most banger curries and shawarmas there, like hands down. Are they legal? Most of the restaurants? Probably not. Are they good? Yes. I don't care, right? Like, I really don't care. And it's like, again, it's my moral panic. It's like, virtual, like the vice signaling
and issues that are really there. Yeah, all that shit. Like
in
Polish history is probably yeah. I mean, in Texas, everybody's been freaking out about like Islam taking over the government, whatever. Like Sri Lanka's like Islam is like 4% of the population there. Like a minus out. Yeah,
my guy, like, why we talk about, even the Zoran thing here in Portugal was, we have a party here that's very similar to the I would say Democrats.
yeah.
So they're right wing. That's it. I don't want just they're full right wing. They call the Liberal Initiative. That's what they call themselves. They're just fascists with a tie, pretty much. Because the way they do politics here is so American, it annoys me. So they love talking about culture wars and how the left creates these and imports these issues from America and this wokeist, like they have this anti woke rhetoric going on as well. They, in their social media, in their X page, they were talking about the Sydney Sweeney controversy of the jeans stuff. You remember that?
Yeah.
They were commenting on that, like, the cancel culture of a completely pro or like defending her, like, this is the left always trying to import like moral degeneracy, blah 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 blah. What? Like, even for their standards, like, they're so weird to me. Like, shit that we already know they're fascist, but the other party, like on their left, this liberal initiative, they are so, like, they look like I want to say this, like a student like association, like for high school students, like competing for who's going to be prom king or something. So ridiculous, man. They are the rhetorics. They call themselves liberal, right?
Yeah.
Tell me, why do they vote in favor of this burqa law? Because they are, we have cultural standards we need to uphold.
Like anti-liberal. That's like the anti-liberal. Like the whole point about liberalism is like personal freedom.
Like, they love coming after me, like, you call yourself a socialist, but you have a computer, you own an iPhone. Where's your factory, bro? Where's your factory? Where's your field of land, of like agricultural land? Where is it? Huh?
Yeah.
I don't see it. I see a guy in a suit talking shit. And even if you want to talk like about like the Milton Friedmans of the world, like these figureheads of liberal enlightenment, right? Even they have a saying about how immigration and these movements of migratory workers are important to maintain. I disagree with him. I think his way of seeing immigrants is utilitarian. It's ridiculous. They are people. They deserve the same rights. They're not like a secondary labor force, right? Like Marx like Marx says in his books, like the second level force are willing to work because they are desperate, right? This is why it's keeping our salaries down. Is that we're not giving these people conditions, and these liberals are unable to see this. They are completely unable to see this. Why? Because they are also tools of these mega corporations that happen to work in Portugal as well.
Absolutely.
It's in a very more smaller scale because we are a very small country, but the issues are exactly the same. We have foreign capital dictating our housing crisis. We have a lot of investment funds buying full-on buildings that stay vacant because people cannot afford them. Right? This is ridiculous. Like Lisbon is one of the it's the most expensive city to live in Europe.
Yeah.
We have London, Berlin, Rome, and Lisbon is the most expensive city to live. Why? Because the mayorship and the local power in Lisbon and our government refused to control Airbnbs. They refuse to control how much property somebody can own. Even in Spain, they are discussing this, and they are a very leftist government right now. Pedro Sanchez is trying to like limit the owning of houses. So, like, you can own 1, 2 houses. What you own more, you have 70% taxes, 80% taxes, and you pay in full. That's it. Houses is for living. We need a Mao again.
Absolutely.
Give us something.
Absolutely. I mean, that's every city though. Like in the world, just getting bought out by like BlackRock and Blackstone and whatever. Put onto the rental market, and it's just crazy.
I'm not sure about you, but this guy had a few points. He had a few good points about landlords that I kind of think is very based on.
For anybody who can't see, he put up a.
The main difference between right wing movements and left wing movements, in my opinion, is the ability that the left has to self criticize and to self correct. Marx did this, Lenin did this, Mao did this. Even the newer wave of communists are able to look back at the works that were left behind and see, okay, this worked, this was stupid, this was good, this did not work well. So our ability to criticize the work of people, even that we idolize, even Marx has criticisms we can do, right? He didn't predict the iPhone, right? It was not his job to predict the iPhone. He was a philosopher at the end of the day. He was he lived in, right?
Is his works of relative accumulation are a little bit underdeveloped, in my opinion.
You could say, I mean, you can say that, and I mean, I think his work is important because he left the groundwork, the building blocks, so we can improve on it. This whole idea that Marxism is like this stale ideology that's still in the 19th century or the 17th century, it's stupid. We can completely grab what he left written and adapt it to this neo-Marxist thing you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. But even the whole iPhone ordeal, the commodification of every single aspect of our lives was predicted. Not in the form of the iPhone, of course, but it was predicted. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of dishonesty of like discussing Marxist works or Marxist variations of a work. My hope nowadays is that we don't need to define ourselves as, Marxist Leninist, Marxist honest. No, we are Marxists, neo-Marxists. We need to find a way to converge all these works like Kant did. We have a lot of like philosophical movements throughout history that had two diverging philosophies that eventually merged into one, right? I would say like the most famous one would be the Descartes and Hund debate about the whole how we gather knowledge. Is it through reason? Is it through empirical evidence? Is it empirical? Is it rational? And then comes a guy like Kant, like, we actually can do both. It actually works both ways. We actually have a mechanism that interprets empirically, and then we can use our rationality to make reason of it. So they are both true. We need to find a way to unify these all these movements, all these teaching, all these texts into a new book, a new literary beacon. That's my hope nowadays. I need someone, an author, one of you guys. I'm not a writer, so that's not gonna be me for sure. But I want a guy that grabs these lessons and these mistakes that we learn and compiles a new Das Kapital. You know,
I think the problem really is that not a lot of people are stuck in actually the 21st century. Like a lot of their debates are still like from the Russian Revolution and things like that. And there's great works out there right now that are analyzing like globalism or like neoliberal capitalism. Right, that's our current stage. A lot of people refuse to do that. Like they'll stick to like Lenin's imperialism, but there's a lot of great works like John Smith's Imperialism in the 21st Century, where he builds upon Lenin's argument and brings it to the 21st century, which is like, I think that's what's needed, honestly, because a lot of people, their debates are not even about the globalist stage of capitalism anymore, right?
it's
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's irrelevant. I see a lot of like TikTok lives about. I even see like a few comments like, "Oh, Marxists, Leninists are evil. Oh, because the centralization of power, la di da, la di da." Yeah, sure, okay, fine, okay, I get it. At the end of the day, what's the purpose of somebody that calls themselves a Marxist? Is to give back the means of production to the people. It's give true democratization of the economic engines that we have in our countries. So we have our politics are democratic, so to speak, we could say, but our economy is not. The economy is led by feudal lords, literally feudal lords. These guys dictate how things are priced, how they get to you, and how you get them. This is not fair. This is not democratic at all. And this is what they fear is the people having conscious that this is happening right now. There's a guy out there that thinks that water should be not a human right. These guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, what does current politics look like in Portugal? Who's the ruling party?
So we have, they call themselves Social Democrats, the Social Democrat Party. They are center right party. They have a minority rule, and they are cooperating most of their law passing schemes with Chega. So they are leaning into the fascists, of course.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We have the Social Party that was defeated. They are the center left party. That little itsy bitsy left, the left that does the bare minimum left, those socialists. That's why in Portugal there's because the parties decide to name themselves like this, it dilutes the meaning of the word, right? Socialist or social democrat. Because for me, the social democrats are not social democrats. They are right wingers. They are conservative. They are just aligned to capital through and through. They are right now passing one of the most oppressive major labor laws that this country's ever seen, like facilitating collective firings, facilitating no paid extra hours, or just going to the bank of hours, as they call it, like bullshit. So it's paid leave, pretty much. Yeah, they're pretty much preparing a bill to attack laborers and workers' rights, and we are mobilizing with the major
Even the social democracies have been doing that recently. In Britain too, like the Labour Party's just been abandoning it. It feels like it's like the welfare state's unmaintainable now. I don't know what it feel like a falling rate of profit or something. I don't know.
Most people that are not European or not, they see this as the falling of the empires or the colonial. The welfare states were always been able to be implemented with some sort of exploitation, right?
Yeah.
So, in order for you to maintain a welfare state, through and through, without necessitating like colonies or cheap labor or exploitation of natural resources that are not yours, all that crap is able to, of course, subsidize the welfare state in France, for example. But as soon as they have no access to that colony money, things start ripping apart. I don't think that's a problem with Portugal. I think Portugal is just through and through mismanagement, because dude, we have 11 million people. We are like a small town in the United States. We could easily manage this country. We could easily manage this with solid economic policies, like being able to actually do some wealth redistribution, because we have the wage gap or the earnings there are so ridiculous. Like people that uh, their wage is like minimum wage, like 900 euros, to people like earning like 3,000, 4,000 that don't work. That aren't even not even Portuguese, man. We have American travelers that come here, like they own their salaries like what 3,000, 4,000 a month, competing with people here like earning like a bare minimum at least 900 to 1,000. The pricing is not done for the average Portuguese. It's done to the average American that comes here to live. You have golden visas as well. You pay half a mil. You're Portuguese, and the fascists like this. The fascists voted for this. The ones that go to our parliament singing and shouting, "Oh, Portuguese nationality is not for sale. Our blood is not for sale." La di da, la di da. Then they subscribe to these Americans, Turkish, or whatever millionaires that come here to spend half a million. They have access, and they need 2 week residence, and yeah,
Of course, the rich have class solidarity. Actually, like very much so. They're the least racist people. You know,
oh yeah,
like the rich are the least racist people. They have no nations. They have no borders. They have no ethnicity. They'll work with each other all the time.
so if you have the caps for it, you're Portuguese, man. To come here, half a mil, you pay half a mil on for example, buying a whole building block of apartments so you can invest and extract rent from this already exploited people here in the country that you're not native of, for example. That's one of the main problems. But they divert this to the immigrants that come here illegally or allegedly illegally to steal our jobs and dilute our minimum wage because they are willing to work for less and they're fair fault because they work for less and they work illegally. Not the people exploiting them, not the people offering them like less than the minimum salary here, which is highly illegal, by the way, extremely illegal, right? I mean, this whole
It's such an easy game, though. It's such an easy game. Just point at the migrant or something.
and our left is not able to position themselves. Our left is being completely castrated by this. We are being owned for the last 4 years by this rhetoric, right? We trying to focus our shift on actual material problems like housing, our healthcare system that's being heavily mismanaged. We're having a lot of births in the middle of roads in the ambulance. This should not be happening. We have maternities around the country. This should not be happening. We should not be having like actual births in the middle of the road on the ambulance or the firefighter car. Right? It shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's happening since this fucking center right party was elected. In the last 1 year and 1.5 years, we have more than 40 births in the road. 2 of them ended up in the mother and the child dying.
Damn. Holy shit.
Dude,
damn.
It's unacceptable. One of our best metrics so far was child child birth rate, like not dying. No stillborns alive. Like we have one of the lowest in Europe, and now it's going up because of these incompetents. Dude. I have no hope for my left wing parties besides the Communist Party that still has some old message. Like it's a very old party, like 107 years old almost, and it's managed by a lot of old dudes. I keep saying we need new faces, but Central Committee doesn't elect them, and the internal elections very shady.
But it's happening with communist parties after a while. I feel like if a revolution does not happen soon enough, I feel like communist parties start to stagnate very fast. Unless they're constantly keeping up, unless they're constantly keeping up, constantly cleaning house, they tend to stagnate.
Yeah, and I keep telling them, and then they have a lot of groups that branch off and break off of them, right? Like we have a lot of collectives right now, communist collectives that broke off the party because they see the party as subservient to this liberal democracy, that they are still like trying to win the voting game. Like, it's not gonna happen. And of course they break off of the party, and even the leaders. I mean, this new leader of the Communist Party is so old, man. It's like these and the speeches are so old school, man. And I keep telling them we need new blood, we need fresh faces. We had a candidate for the Lisbon mayor, being Lisbon mayor, um, that he presented himself as a leftist candidate, and the other leftist parties created a new kind of seat to go against him.
Yeah.
Like our point was to get the liberal mayor out of Lisbon. He's the one causing uh, our housing prices and rent to go up. He's making Lisbon like a fun park, a theme park for tourists. So our main objective was to push him off of Lisbon, like take him off of the office. We need like the Communist Party prepared the candidacy way ahead of time. A guy that has been working in the mayor in the municipality for 10 years now. He's been a we call it vereador. I'm not sure it's in English. It's like a let's say he had office. He had an executive office in the municipality, right? So he was in charge of like making sure the policies are being well applied and fiscalization, pretty much, right? So he had all the aptitudes and all the skills to be the mayor because he's been doing this for years now. So the Communist Party presented him as a candidate, packing him up, la di da. He's a young man, he's like 30 years old, like still young, a very fresh face. Um, and yeah, the other leftist parties decided to present another candidacy with the candidate for the Socialist Party, the bare minimum Socialist Party I was talking about. Yeah, the Greens and the left bloc decided to support the other candidate instead of the Communist one that already had presented his candidacy. They're diluting the votes for nothing. So there's a lot of leftists in fighting. We're not like coordinating for having results in the elections. Bad leaders in the left. Only the Green Party has like an actual charismatic leader that's as a historian, a former historian, that has a lot of knowledge and are like a good discourse. But at the end of the day, our leftist parties are a bit of adrift, you know. Besides the Greens that are actually trying to, I think, combat a little bit this new administration. There are still only 6 deputies. They still don't have the projections they should have in order to do a correct opposition. So we are a bit in a very precarious situation, I would say, in terms of like leftist movements and having like a leftist win again. Our former Prime Minister Antonio Costa, which is now in the European Union, is like one of the commissioners of the European Union. Like, he's a great politician. He was part of the bare minimum Socialist Party, but he did quite a few things all right. But he's very hated because he's brown skinned as well. And yeah, I don't think we can have a new one socialist or this bare minimum socialist being elected so far because their leadership is risless, completely like risless, like no, like a preacher. It's just we're in a very bad position right now, I think.
Well, with that, wrapping this up on that note, being in a bad position on kind of a bad place to end it, but
It's the truth, though. It's
yeah. Any last word?
I only, yeah, I do. Like, a revolução será nossa. 25 de abril sempre. Fascismo nunca mais. This is one of our mottos. 25 of April always. Fascism nevermore, or whatever. If you want to translate it. So it's one of our phrases. I still believe that the 25 of April is able to be implemented in every country, and even going further than mine. I think our Portuguese communists have a very different relationship with violence and violence in revolution, because we were the living proof that we don't need to kill our comrades in order to bring up a revolution. We just need them to understand and to know where we're coming from. Since that day, we still believe in a safe and peaceful revolution. Maybe one or two. At the end of the day, I still think revolution is able to be done peaceful. with weapons on hand, of course, but peaceful.
Thank you for listening to the Pokepreet podcast. If you want to support our podcast, you can always head down to our Patreon, where you can get episodes up to a month early. Workers of the world unite. Long live the immortal science of Marxist-Leninism. Thank you.